Adding lights to your layout adds a lot of realism to it. It's also pretty. As you can see on my layout, I have many of the buildings lit along with street lighting, and I believe it adds a lot, even in the daylight. Even in the daylight, people keep lights on inside. As you can see through my grocery store window, there are people doing things inside my buildings. When the hobos are surrounding a flickering campfire, it helps it appear less static. Lighting your structure helps you see what's going on inside. Even back in the back of this coal mine, there's a light in the cave. Without the lights in my lumber warehouse, no one could see all the hard work I did building all those stacks of lumber inside. I'm building a coaling tower. This is Walther's cornerstone coaling tower, wood coaling tower. I have completed the basic structure. Don't have all of the accessories yet, you know, the chutes and the stairs and platforms and whatnot. But I'm at the point where I start putting on the roof. As you can see, I've added the roof on either side here. But this is the point where you want to add your LED lights before you add the roof. Now, when you're lighting a structure, there are two things you need to watch out for. One of them is the light bleeding out through the seams. So we don't want, when the light is put inside, we don't want it bleeding out in the seams where it joins together. We only want it to come out the window. The other thing you have to watch out for is if you're putting a light up in the roof, if the light is too close to the roof, it will actually glow through. Now, this piece of plastic was gray to begin with, and I sprayed it on both sides with more gray paint. And yet the light will still shine through it. It'll glow like a Christmas tree ornament right where the light is. So how do we take care of our two problems? Well, the first thing we do is I'm going to coat the inside seams up through here and on the other side, and I'm going to coat them with Aleene's tacky glue. Just make a glob for myself on this right here. And I will use my stick here. I think this is a candy apple stick I got at the grocery store, and I will run it down the seams. You will notice a white piece of plastic that I put in for the floor. This accomplishes two things. It leaves me a place to stand some people, but it also helps eliminate the light bleeding down through the bottom. In other words, the only thing I have to take care of here will be the seams just up here. I won't have to get the seams down below. So I will continue to cover these seams. Although this Aleene's tacky glue is opaque right now, when it dries, it will dry clear. So it will be necessary to paint over all of this glue to make sure that the light doesn't go through. So I will go on and continue to put the glue in the corners and be right back. So I've covered up the seams with the glue, and again, remember, when it dries you'll need to paint over it because the dried Aleene's tacky glue will not be opaque. It will require some paint over top of it to keep the light from shining through. Also, you might see, let me the camera here, that I've gone way down inside the elevator over here. I've gone down inside it. Remember that the light travels in a straight line, and so wherever the light is, it will shine down like this, but it won't get it'll shine down into the elevator a little bit, but not all the way, because the light would have to be over top of it to shine all the way. And again, that will determine my placement of the light. Rather than putting it in the center of this room, which is where a light would normally be, I'm going to put it up to the front of the room, up here. Now, where am I going to put the light? Well, the light should be in a ceiling. So I'll take my roof, and I've cut a small piece of plastic, and it's been cut so that it will go in like this, and I can glue it there. And as you see, it goes all the way over to the gluing spots here and over here. Over here it doesn't quite reach, but that's because I wanted to raise it just a little bit. You see I've marked 2 spots, and that's where I'm going to put my light. And that's where the light will be. And now we're going to get to the LED lights, and this is the ceiling, and this is where we're going to attach the light. LED lights have really gotten cheap. I have 123 millimeter LED lights that I bought on Amazon for $5, and that's really cheap. And the colored ones aren't much more. I want to show you a couple of things. Hope you can see it in here. Notice that one of these prongs is longer than the other. The long prong is the positive, and the short one is the common. You can also look up in the top here. You can see in this close-up the large triangle on the left. That will always be the negative side. The other side will always be positive. As you hear me talking about a positive and common, or positive and negative, that leads you to know that these only work on DC power. It will not work on AC power. So if you want to light your structures with LED lights, you cannot use the accessory connection on your power supply for your track, because it's going to be AC, and an AC power will not light an LED light. So you're going to have to make a choice on how you're going to power it. Now, one way to do it is to use a battery. This is a battery case. It holds 2 AAA batteries. I bought like 5 of these for $5 on Amazon, but the batteries and the alligator clips you have to supply yourself. So I will test this light to make sure it's working properly, and I will put the red on the long prong. I've turned it on, so now I'll touch the black to the short prong, and we have a light. Now I want to show you that if you mix up and put the positive on the short prong, it will not light. You see that? It will not light. It must be the other way. So now we know we have a good light, and believe me, you should test your lights at every stage of the process to make sure that you haven't had something go wrong. You can power a lot of lights with this particular setup, with just the 3 volts put out by 2 AA batteries. But once you get above, I don't know, 25, 30 lights, I don't know where the cutoff is. When you get to where you have 50 lights or more, like I have on my layout at this time, the 3-volt battery does not power that very well. You start getting a lower amount of power to each light. I'm not sure what an electrician would tell you about that. probably has something to do with load. I just know that this particular battery pack will no longer brighten all of the lights on my layout all by itself. So I have found another power source. This is what I use to power the LED lights on my layout. Bought this for about $20 on Amazon. The end is set up so you can attach several different kinds of devices. This is set up to just plug into the layout and light my lights. It's a variable. The lowest setting is around 3.3, and it goes all the way up to over 24 watts. Well, of course, I need it on its minimum. And the fact that these are 3-volt lights and you're putting 3.27 in, that's not going to hurt anything, especially when you have over 50 lights, like as I do, because if you only had the 3 volts from a battery, the lights would not shine as brightly as they do using this. So this power adapter that changes AC to DC and is variable, I find is a very good way to light, and that way you don't have to concern yourself with resistors. I wanted to show you some resistors. Resistors come in different colors with different stripes on them. There must be 1,000 different kinds of resistors with different ohms. An ohm is a measure of resistance. Now you're getting way beyond my abilities in electricity. My knowledge of electricity pretty much ends with you need a complete circuit to make it work. By using a 3-volt source, whether it be batteries or a power adapter, you won't need resistors. Unless there is one place where you might want to use it. Remember I told you about bleed through in the top of your roof? Well, if you use hot glue to attach an LED light to the top of a roof, you can prevent the glow through by placing a resistor in the line, and then it won't be as bright and then it won't shine through. But again, if you're asking me which resistor you should use, I can't tell you. That's why I do it this way. All right then. We have our LED. We have, as you see, I drilled a hole through here, and it will go through like this. See if you can see, and it'll look like a little dome light up in the ceiling there. All right. So now what I have to do is attach some wires to this. On my layout, I have my wires color coded, and for house lights I have green and red. Red being the positive line and green being the common. On my layout, anytime you see red, it is the positive line. All right. Anytime you see black on my layout, it is the common. In this case, we don't have black, we have green. All right. So this particular wire I got on eBay. You can get 1,000 feet of it for $8. And this is called wrap wire. It's 30 gauge, and that's quite small, but it's all I need on my layout. If you're carrying power over a long distance, you may need a heavier gauge, but I don't know if I want to put great big wires inside this little bitty N-scale building. This is the biggest building on my layout. Well, maybe the warehouse is a little bit bigger, but not as tall. Anyway, this is what I use. So I've already checked the distance. I don't have long. Once I get this on my layout, It's only about 6 or 7 inches to where I can tap into the bus line, so I don't need a lot. By the way, you'll need a way of stripping the 30 gauge wires. Not all wire strippers are set for 30 gauge. As you can see, this one is. It goes down to 30. So I'll get both colors out, and we're going to do some soldering. Soldering is the best way to ensure a good splice. So I'll cut off, or rather strip an end here. This particular wire is not stranded, and believe me, there is such thing as stranded 30 gauge wire. Usually it's only about 4 strands, but they're really a mess to deal with. Okay, so generally speaking, I like to use some extra hands to get my soldering done, something to hold the light while I hold the soldering gun. So I'll get this set up and be back with you. So I'm ready to go. I did twist the wire together because it will be twisted together. Want to go ahead and to make this easy on myself, since I don't have to hide anything from anybody. This doesn't have to be a beautiful splice. It just has to be a good splice. So I'll bend this over a little bit, and that was too far. There we go. Bend each one of them over. Like that. Okay. And we'll again let the helping hands here hold it for me. And we'll take this wire and place it in the little hook and wrap it around a couple times so it's on there nice and tight. And we'll put the red one on the long one because that's positive. It's not bending the way I want it to. Okay, now I've got it wrapped around. So my soldering iron doesn't have an on-off switch, so I have to plug it in and unplug it when not in use. I don't like it to burn when I'm not using it, so I'll plug that in. And while I'm waiting for it to heat, I'll go ahead and apply some flux. I like to use the paste because I can see that it's where I want it, and it stays there. I know there are people who do great jobs of soldering with liquid flux, and more power to them, but I guess I'm just not that good. So I work within my abilities. So fortunately, my soldering iron heats up very quickly. Get my solder. This is there's actually flux inside the solder on this. Get it at Harbor Freight for, I don't know, what is it, $6? Okay, and I'll make a little test. I don't know if you can notice it, but the end of my soldering iron is very pointy. You need something this small to work on small stuff, and it's also very clean. You see, it's then plate it all over with the solder. And if you do that, your point will last a lot longer. So I'll go ahead and test this by touching it to it, and it melts. And we'll just touch it on and we're done. That was easy. Clean off my tip here. Let me get over where you can see it. So while it's cooling down, we'll just clean it off to keep it clean. And now we're ready to place it in the roof. All right, I have my soldering done. I've spread the prongs here just a little bit to make sure these things don't touch. That way I'm not worried about any shorts in this metal on metal. They're never going to go together. So now I want to bend them down, and just like that. So it will go in here, and as you can see, I cut a little notch over here because this is going to be right up against the edge of the building, so I have to make sure that that's clear to go through. All right, now to secure it, this hole is 1/8 of an inch, and that works perfectly for the 3mm light. If you have a 7/64, go for it, because that'll fit even better. But I'm just going to glue it in. I'm going to use Tester's plastic glue because this will be plastic on plastic. I've got one of these little nozzles on here that comes with the glue now. I think they're pretty good. They might need to do something with the cap so that it stays on a little better, but I'm like this little applicator. Oops, got too much. Suck it back in. And just put a little round. It dries fairly quickly. All right. And we'll place it down in like that and hold it a little bit. Now I want to show you the light shines all the way up in here. As a matter of fact, let's check that. You should always check your lights after each step to make sure you've got a good joint. Well, this is having trouble here. And we'll turn that on. And as you can see, we have a light, but it shines on both sides. Well, the whole purpose of the ceiling was to keep the light away from the roof. So what am I going to do? I'll tell you. Liquid electrical tape. It's as opaque as you can get. It also provides a very sticky surface to allow it to help hold everything in place. So I'll just take my stick here and get some on, and we'll just cover everything. It doesn't take it a long time to dry. Let me get a little more on there. Oops. To get it under here. Because the idea is to completely cover everything so that the light doesn't shine through. So we'll go ahead while that's drying. Double check the lights. You see now the light only comes from the bottom. No light comes through at the top, so our roof is safe. Now, now we have this ready to glue into our roof, and we'll be just about set. I'll be back when this dries. I don't want to mess with it too much while it's drying. While everything is drying, I went ahead and painted those corners where I put the Aleene's tacky glue. You see, I also put in a wood floor. It's just a picture of a wood floor printed and cut out and pasted in, and I put a couple of men in there, one standing, both of them standing by the window. That way you're not going to see anything but the people standing at the windows. Went ahead and folded, put my cord all the way down the elevator and out the bottom here. So now we'll give it a test. Put the roof in place and turn on the light. Let's see if you can see the person inside there. I can see him. And there's one on the other side. The light is playing a little havoc with the camera, but as you can see, there's no bleed through. Is that some bleed through there? Yes. See, I've got a little bleed through there, but we'll get rid of that when we glue it down. And when I glue it down and show you the final, if it's still bleeding through there, I'll show you what to do with that, okay? But we're not getting any bleed through in the seams, and we're not getting any glow through in the roof. So that has been accomplished. So now I'll just glue the top down, and we'll check for that bleed, see if it's there. If it is, we'll fix it the same way that we fix the inside, except we'll be doing it on the outside under the eave. Okay? Also, when I glue my roofs, I like to use the Aleene's tacky glue because it doesn't dry brittle or hard. And if in the future I should need to remove this roof to get at the LED light, I can cut it with a knife and remove the roof and get back inside. So let's go ahead and glue the roof down. My Aleene's tacky glue. The nozzle's a little big for putting right to the edges. So again, I'll use my stick. Also, I'm only going to put the glue on the eave side. I'm not going to put it at the gable. Right. So I'll give that a few minutes to dry, and while it's drying, and before we check, I have a different kind of roof back by my sandbuck. As you can see here, it doesn't have the gable on it. It's all flat, so I don't have a raised portion where I can put the light to keep it away from the roof. So instead, I'm going to put it into the wall right here, down below the roof. I don't know if you can see. You can see there I have two 16th-inch holes that I drilled, and I'm going to go ahead and attach the wires to my light and feed them through the hole and pull them through. Then eventually I will splice them into this longer wire, which will go to the bus that feeds the power. But I am going to do the splice of the wire to the light just a little bit differently to try and make sure I don't have a big bump there. And let me show you how to do that. I'll get my helping hands out and then we'll start. I have my LED light, which I tested to make sure it's still bright. And as you notice, I've cut off the prongs a little bit, but I still cut the short one shorter than I cut the long one, so that I know which is which. This time, instead of putting that little hook on there, I'm going to place this on and just wrap it around several times. Nice tight wrap. And the idea behind this is to keep from having a glob. Okay. Go ahead. And I don't have to worry about their links now because I have the red wire attached to the long one. And we'll get the short one and wrap it around. Ew. It's a little harder on the short one. Okay, let me get a little flux on there. Because the flux will make it spread. Alright, let's test. See if we're ready to go. It's not quite hot enough. There we go. So, it's as simple as that. Turn off my soldering iron. But still, I want to, maybe I could just mash them down instead of trying to cut them off. Because we don't need that wire to make the connection any better. The wrapping, I'm keeping the camera here, the wrapping is just so that it would hold on while I was soldering it. Alright. That's, I guess I better, let's check this before I feed them through. Make sure the light lights. Turn it on. Huh. Well, see what I did? I've got the red on the green and the red on the black, red on green here, black on red here, and it's never going to work that way. That was pretty silly. And we're good. So now I can feed this down. Into the elevator shaft. What's it running into? That's running into something. There we go. So now I don't want it straight out, I want to bend it down just a little bit because the roof goes down. So be careful. And bring them together a little bit so they reach the hole. All right. So let's test them. Put the black on the green and the red on the red. And then we can put a roof on. Alright. So, next thing I want to do is get back up here to the top and we'll check bleed through again and fix it if there is any. Okay, I have my roof on over here now, and I secured the light with the liquid electrician's tape the same way I did up here. I only have the power on the light here right now, and let's see if you can see that. Right over here you see a little stretch of white there. Yeah, that's the light coming through. Alright, so the way we fix that, leaving the light on and looking at it, is we'll use our white glue, Eileen's tacky glue, get it on the end of a pointy stick, just run it up in there. Now as you're looking at it, you will see the bright white light be replaced with the white glue, which of course will turn pale and actually clear. Okay, so yeah, I'm putting that in there. Let's see if you can see that. And it's a little messy. Let me clean this up and we'll try and get some of that off of there. I can see, I'm not so sure you can see. Let's try this blade. See if I can clean it while you can see. Alright, now we don't have to worry too much about the glue covering the wood paint because it's going to dry clear. But when that white glue dries, see the white glue in there? When that white glue dries, it will be clear, and you'll need to put brown where you need it for the wood, and you'll need to put gray where you need it for the roof. And then everything will be set and you'll have no more bleed through, and of course no glow through on the top. So that is pretty much how you do it. Next, these are just put down through a hole in your base and attached to your bus line, the same power line that everything else is attached to. And now you have a nicely lit building. We're in my garage now, and here's my layout. It's 62 inches wide by 42 inches across. And I'm going to point out over towards the right there, you can see a big empty space, and of course that is where my coaling tower is going to go. As you can see, I have left open the spot where my coaling tower is going to go. I actually bought that tower over 2 years ago, but I did bring the base out that I worked on and used it to mark where the spot was going to go so that I could put my tracks in. Of course I couldn't put this one down because it's going to pass through the building, and I don't know if you can see right here, but I've also put in the pit where the coal is going to be dropped by the ore cars that come in on this track. I've located my spot right here for drilling the hole. As you can see, my base is plywood. It's 3/8 of an inch. If you have foam to go through, I have just a little tip for you. When you drill your hole through your base, you might want to use a skewer like this to punch through. I don't know if you can see, but I've got a couple of holes drilled in this. Let's see if I can get a better picture of that. When you drill the holes in, you can pass the wires through like this and then shove it in through and pull them out, and that'll make it a little easier to pass the wires through foam. So I will drill my hole and glue my building down. I'll be using Alien's Tacky Glue again, just in case I need to remove the structure in the future. I hope not, but if I do, I can cut through the dried Alien's Tacky Glue with a sharp hobby knife. So I will situate the structure and glue it down with the wiring passed through the hole I'm going to drill. While the glue is drying to hold down my coaling tower, just wanted to show you my power system. This is my Aethern controller, and as you see on the side over here, I have the AC connected to run my turnout switches, and the DC power here will control my track. Over here, this black and red wire is where I hook in the AC to DC converter that I showed you earlier. This particular adapter comes with the converter, and I just plug it in here and it will run in. I'll show you the wiring in a bit, but it goes through these switches right here, and this is where I turn on my building lights, and then this one will turn on my street lights. So as soon as all of the glue is dry up on the mesa there, I will tip my layout up on its side, and we'll go through the wiring. I've tipped up my layout so that I have access to my wiring. As you can see right up here, I have labeled DC positive, red, DC negative, black. And in my wiring schemes, all hot colors like red, yellow, and orange are positive, and all cool colors like blue and green along with the black are always negative. So as you can see over here, the red line that I have on top where I hook into my power source right here, it has 3 red lines hooked into it and 1 yellow line. The yellow line is from my campfires. Okay, and all 3 of those go directly to the 2 bus lines go up here to street lights and houses, and 1 down here, if I pick it up from behind that, this one down here goes to the houses on the back of the layout. All right, and then of course the yellow and the blue here are my campfires. But those are all together and it goes there. Now, the green lines, which is our negative, and the 1 blue line here are joined together. It was joined together, the blue and green here, and that's the street lights. And these are both house bus lines to the houses. They come in through here and go over into the underside of the switches here. So they go in one side of this 2-pole switch, and on the outside a black line comes out and runs up here to go back in to the power source. So that is how it works. Now, it doesn't really matter which side the bus line leads come into and which side the power line comes out to. It will work either way. It just will make your switches opposite. If you switch those poles, then instead of up for on and down for off, it'll be the other way. So that is the power source to my bus lines. If you follow this bus line right here, it goes to the houses in the back. If you follow this bus line from the houses to the back, it comes down here and runs across over to here. Then it runs down, and that's where we're going to join in. Here's the coal pit in the front of my tower, and here is the line coming out. Remember, we had 2 LED lights in there, and I've spliced them together here, and I'm led the wire down here, and passed it through this staple just to hold it up straight, and I'm going to run it up here and connect into this red and green bus line that actually goes to my Pickle Works, which I don't believe you've seen yet unless you've seen my entire layout, but that's where I'm going to connect it. And this is the way you do that. So I'm going to open up the twists in the wire here. At least I think I am. There we go. All right. And we'll get our wire here and cut off the excess. Then I'll undo my twists here. So we'll strip off the end of the wires here. And go in here, and this is important. I'm going to strip back the green wire up top here and the red wire down at the bottom, keeping the splice ends away from each other. Now, you'll want to try and be careful not to cut the wire, but just press down and skin it back. See how that leaves that open? And then we'll bring the red one out and drop down to the other side. And skin it back. Okay, I've got it open now. If you should happen to cut the wire, then it's just a matter of splicing all three ends together. But we'll take the red wire and wrap it around. Keeping it on the bare part. And the green one up here. And wrap it around. I don't want to bore you with the wrapping. So I'll get these wrapped around and be right back with you. I have completed my wrapping and give them a little squeeze like this. I've already done this, by the way, because the first thing I did after I completed my splice was to check my power to make sure that the lights in my cooling tower came on, and they do. Now at this point you can solder if you want, but I have a lot of cold solders on my layout, and some of them are 2 years old, and they still work just fine. You can leave this like this if you like also, because they're separated like that, they can't cross over each other. But as you see in my left hand here, I have my Liquids electrician's tape, and I'm going to put some of that on it to protect the splice, and it also helps keep it tight. Just put some on the stick here. And cover it up like that. And now we are complete. I'm going to drop it down. We're finished. I'll show you a picture of my finished product. I hope that you have learned something from this clinic that you didn't already know.